everyone, welcome to my channel and to what is probably going to be a new series of videos that I film throughout the summer where I potter around and do little bits in the garden that I think will be quite interesting and fun for you to see, but maybe don't make up a big video. So I'm going to join them all together throughout the week and then do like a weekly recap vlog of everything that's been going on in the garden. If you're new to my channel, my name's Annette and we garden here in South Buckinghamshire in the UK. This is equivalent to a zone 8B or 9A, probably more like a 9A. We get down to about -5. That's normally our maximum cold that we get. We have a lovely walled garden. You can see part of the wall here. Some of the walls are really high. I've not measured them. We really should measure them. I keep saying that. We have a lovely walled garden and we have a very sort of English cottage garden style, and I absolutely love my garden. I love gardening and I love sharing it with everybody and hearing about what you're doing in your garden. Anyway, welcome to my first weekly recap vlog. My first job today, I am going to prop up the campanula that I spotted. I filmed a rose tour. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link in the description below. But I filmed a rose tour yesterday, and whilst I was filming it, I realised that some campanula had completely keeled over like this. Now I've got a support in the bed behind me, where at the weekend I took out all of the sweet rocket, the Hesperus, that had gone over. It had finished flowering, and it's an annual here, so I took it all out. There's a big bare space in the border behind me which I need to plant something in, but also there's a support there that I'm just going to whip out of here and pop into where the campanula is. As I strolled past these roses, the scent was absolutely incredible. So this is Chandos Beauty. It's got really big, sort of pale, very pale apricot blooms with huge petals, and they fold over really nicely, but the scent in the morning is absolutely incredible. Really lovely, beautiful rose scent. So this is Litchfield Angel, a gorgeous rose, but it is very floppy, so I have like a sort of little obelisk underneath that, and this is a Brachyglottis or Senecio. I'm not sure what it's called now anymore, but this is the campanula that's completely leaning over, so I'm just going to prop it up. Well, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. There we go. While I was out here, I noticed that the peony behind me has finished flowering, so we're going to deadhead it. Now, the reason we deadhead the peonies is so that the peony can focus its energy rather than on producing seeds. It will focus its energy on creating a stronger root system, and therefore it will have more energy. It'll be a bigger plant, more energy to produce more blooms next year. Now with the peonies, I'm never sure where to cut it back to, but I kind of follow the same rule with all my peonies, and I just take off the top seed head and then the next leaf. So I cut down to sort of the second leaf, if that makes any sense. So I don't actually know what this peony is called because we moved it from a different area of the garden where I planted the peony, excuse me, many years ago. So I'm going to not just cut off the top here. I'm kind of, well, these have got funny heads. I'm just going to make it a nice shape, I suppose, make everything the same height. So I did tell you, in fact, I can see that that's a dead bud there. So I'm going to take it down so that I'm taking off all the dead buds. That's what I'm doing. So none of these came to anything. They all seem to have dried up, probably because we didn't have the watering system on whilst we were away. And that's all I'm going to do. Now, the other thing I want to do is I've spotted that my melope has started growing there, and I want to prop it up. So I'm just going to use a really small plant support because they're not huge plants, but they do tend to sort of flop everywhere, and they'll get quite large and wide. So I find with one little plant support, it's a lot easier to stop them flopping all over the ground. So I'm just using a plant support like this. So it's quite narrow, but that doesn't matter because the melope will grow outside of it. And I'm just going to pop it over the head before the plant gets too big and just support it like this. And then it will do what it likes and just sort of grow around that. So the other thing I'm going to do today is to prop up the scabious because I find that the scabious flops everywhere. and I find that quite annoying. So I'm just going to loosely put this plant support around it. It's not intricate or anything like that, it's just a very basic round plant support. If I can get it into this dry, hard ground, and in the very near future we won't be able to see that at all. So the other thing that desperately needs doing is I need to deadhead this Desdemona rose. So I didn't show this in the rose tour that I did because everything has finished flowering. So it's had its first flush. It's one of the first roses to come into flower in the garden. So it's had its first flush. I'm going to deadhead it and then we'll get another load of flowers, hopefully. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deadhead the allium. So these alliums, they're over now and I don't want the brown in this border. So I'm just going to cut them back as far as I can reach. And I'm taking the opportunity, I mean, this is why it just carries on. So I'm going to deadhead the Aquilegia. They've also finished and they're just producing seed now. And we don't want that. So I've also noticed that the Cheshire Rose that I have is kind of leaning over the bottom here. So I'm going to, tomorrow, I'll probably come out here and prop that up. I will also take out this annoying weed and I'll try and get the Nigella off the Hebes because I don't want the Hebes to be smothered. I want them to get all sunshine. So there's a little bit more propping up to do tomorrow. And I'm just going to go and deadhead the other Desdemona standard rose that I've got down there. And then this is a perennial wallflower and I'm going to cut that back. It's all gone to seed and so that just needs a really good chop back now. And I cut it back quite hard. These are the eucalyptus that we cut back in March. They were leafless, no leaves whatsoever. And they are coming back with a vengeance. It's going to look absolutely gorgeous. I have a lot of penstemons in my garden, but this is my favourite. This one's called Stapleford Gem. And in the sunshine, it just glows. It's just got this beautiful combination of white and blue and touches of purple. It's so, so pretty. I've got it dotted all around the patio here. We have been having the most perfect weather. It's actually been a bit of a heat wave. Now it's just really windy, still a little bit warm, but the sweet peas have gone crazy. I'm growing these sweet peas for a wedding celebration for my son and daughter-in-law, and it's in about 4 weeks' time. And normally I would not have this many sweet peas at this time of year, but In order for the sweet peas to continue blooming, we have to keep cutting. So we don't want them to create seed pods. So it's really important to pick them, even though it looks like I should save them. I mean, they wouldn't last 4 weeks anyway, but I'm going to pick these today, bring them inside and enjoy them, and that will stimulate the plant to create more flowers. And if there are any seed pods here, hopefully there aren't because I have been picking them regularly. If there are, then I'll take those seed pods off. But I thought I'd talk you through the 3 varieties that I've grown. So this first one here is supposedly very special. It's a bit of a trend at the moment, I think, actually. It's called King's Ransom, and it's just got the most incredibly beautiful flowers. It's not as strongly scented as you would hope. So this is not the one that's creating all the perfume, but the blooms are absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to pick these and let you have a look at how pretty they are. So this is King's Ransom, and it's just got shades of, well, it's kind of antique-y rose. It's so, so pretty. There's a little bit of orange in it. Sort of almost a fluorescent orange just when they start. But then after that, it's just a beautiful antique-y shade. So it is very pretty, but I'm not finding it very heavily scented. So the next one along here, this one that's growing up really tall, this is called Monarch's Diamond. So I know I've got King's Ransom and Monarch's Diamond, all the royal names, but this one is just the perfect. I mean, if you're looking for a traditional wedding colour, it's so perfect. It's a really soft cream, almost white, with hints of mauvey pink on it. And it smells good. It smells really good. So let me pick some of these and show you what they look like. So this is Monarch's Diamond. I mean, how pretty are those? They're absolutely gorgeous, and they smell perfect, just as a sweet pea should smell. And then the final one that I chose is called Juliet, which kind of reminds me of Romeo and Juliet, and maybe that's what it's supposed to remind us of because it is such a romantic colour. And this one also smells absolutely wonderful. So this one is much paler than Monarch's Diamond. It really is, oh, need to deadhead that one. Yes, I would say this is even more like the wedding colour you would expect. I'll bring them over and show you. So this is Juliet. It's more creamy than pink, and I think this one is beautiful. So these are all of them together. So this one on the end over here, this is Monarch's Diamond. This one is Juliet. So you can see that it's got more of a buttermilky coloration to it. This one's a little bit more pink. This is Monarch's Diamond, and this one is King's Ransom. And I think they go beautifully together. You can imagine them all mixed up in a vase. In fact, I'll mix them up, put them in a vase, and then show you what they're like. But I'm just going to finish picking every single bloom. So it's really important to pick all the blooms because that way you have the best chance of keeping your sweet peas growing for as long as possible. I also want to mention that I did only choose those 3 varieties. So I chose King's Ransom, Monarch's Diamond, and Juliet. But I've got a blue one here. So one of the seed packets must have had something that shouldn't have been in there. So I've got this, well, it's a gorgeous blue variety. I mean, I don't particularly want a blue variety for the wedding, but actually I think it's still really pretty. I'm going to pick them anyway and keep them flowering, and I'll show you what they look like. So this is what the blue one's like. Now, I've only got one plant with this, one seed. It was obviously a mistake in the packet, but I don't hate it. And it's lucky that I sowed absolutely everything in all the packets, because that way I mitigated this disaster. Because supposing I'd only sown like 3 seeds, then I would have had blue, which I don't really want. I don't know, maybe my daughter-in-law will actually like this colour. So I'm even picking the really tiny ones. I mean, I could put that in a tiny bud vase, I suppose, but I'm not going to bother keeping it. But I just don't want anything to start going to seed. So when they've gone to seed, they look, I mean, if you haven't grown sweet peas before, they look like that. We need to take those off and just pick absolutely all the flowers. And if you do this at least once a week, or more regularly if you want to, then your plants will just keep on flowering. So I've taken pretty much every single flower off, and I've made sure to deadhead any that I'd missed last time. So there are no seed pods left. What I'm going to do is tie them all in now, because it's important to keep them growing up the frame. They should pretty much reach the top, hopefully. Yeah, we want them to just not be flopping all over the ground, and I can see some of them are doing that. So let's get tying in. If you're interested in how we made this frame, I'll link a video in the description below, because that shows how we created this. And we've got all the vertical strings in already, twine in already, and most of the sweet peas are being well behaved and are climbing up, but some of them flop a little bit, and so they need tying in. So we just run horizontal twine along here and just sort of strap them to the frame, because it's better for them to be climbing upwards, and that way you'll get more flowers and you'll have healthier plants than if they're all dangling all over my snapdragons, which I don't want. So it's all tied in. You may have noticed that I'm not going for anything aesthetically pleasing. I just need them to stay upright and to climb up to the top of this trellis. enjoying these weekly vlogs where I just show you the background things that go on in the garden to create the garden that I have. Do let me know what you think and whether they are interesting and useful. I'm hoping that they'll be sort of relaxing, but also give you ideas of things that maybe you could pop out and do in your lunch break or something like that, because that tends to be what happens. Or if I'm getting slightly bored or fidgety, I'll just pop out into the garden and do a few things. And you know, this is one of them. And propping plants up or deadheading, they're all the sort of maintenance things that go on in the garden. I really do enjoy that side of gardening, actually, and I hope you do too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.